years ago, Arlan Hamilton was sleeping on the floor of an airport and living on food stamps. The former music manager had no money, no degree, but she had one goal in mind: to invest in underrepresented entrepreneurs. Today, she is making waves in the white male-dominated world of venture capital. Her venture capital firm, Backstage Capital, has invested over $5 million in 100 companies launched by women, people of color, or founders who identify as LGBTQ. I sat down with Hamilton, the founder and managing partner of Backstage Capital, in the latest episode of Bloomberg Studio 1.0, and asked about how she made her way from backstage music manager to rule breaker in Silicon Valley. Take a listen.
It actually kind of correlates because it was while I was on tour that I knew of a Troy Carter, so Lady Gaga's manager. I knew of a Scooter Braun, Justin Bieber's manager. They were all making these investments, these small investments into startups in a place called Silicon Valley. And to me, that sounded like, okay, that sounds interesting. Let me see why these interesting people are interested in that. And I realized, oh my goodness, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a startup founder. These are my people.
How did you learn about Silicon Valley? How did you find this place? How did you figure it out?
I've been watching you for, I think it's been about 5 years. You're a staple here, and so much so that I associate Silicon Valley with your image. And it was a combination of just looking up every video possible on YouTube. There's some podcasts I could listen to, but mostly it was like reading blogs and just reading everything. And then I created flashcards. So I bought index cards, and I put everybody's, like, the player's name on it. So like Mark Andreessen and Stuart Butterfield and Aaron Levy and all of these people, they're now investors in our fund. But I first had them on these cards of like, who are they? What do they mean to the ecosystem? And so I was just teaching myself everything I could because I wanted to be ready to go in and pitch to an investor. I wanted to know what was on the other side. And it was then, while in that process of, I want to start my own company, that's when I started seeing, oh, wait a minute, no one is taking me seriously. And if they're not taking me seriously, and I just went through all of this, I wonder how they're taking someone who maybe doesn't put a G at the end of their sentence, at the end of their words, or maybe has a slight Southern accent, or maybe didn't go to the college that they did, that they went to, and isn't as confident as I am in talking about why that's okay. Because the investors, these white men, was mostly what I was talking to, they were not bad people. They were not like jerks for the most part. Some of them were. And you know who you are. Some of them were. But most of them were just like kind of in their own little bubble, in their own little world, and they just wouldn't go past that.
Now, you made it from Texas to Silicon Valley.
Yes, I did.
But it wasn't a straight line. I mean, you were sleeping on the floor of the airport.
Yes.
You were on food stamps.
Yeah, it was tough a lot of those times. And that's actually goes back to why when people say that I don't deserve this, I just kind of think to myself, okay, they weren't there on the floor with me at the airport watching venture capitalists walk by with their roller bags. Because every day, I didn't know that I was going to stay there that next day. It was always, that last night was the last time I'm doing that. Like, of course I'm going to figure something out. So it was like, okay, am I going to get to eat today? That was the question.
So how did you get your first big break?
I think, there's a lot of little things that kind of led up to it, but I think you can argue that the biggest break was Susan Kimberlin coming along and giving me $25,000 to invest in me, and she said, I believe in you. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this will become, but I do believe in that you will make something of it. So let's see what you can do.
Mark Andreessen, Stuart Butterfield, Aaron Levy, all people that you mentioned are now investors.
Yeah, they are.
How do you get a Mark Andreessen to listen?
Well, I think it starts by recognizing that Mark is as human as I am, and as we're equal.
I should add that Bloomberg Beta is also an investor in Backstage.
Yes, at our latest, yeah.
Do you ever worry that you're just checking a box for some of these people?
So I don't worry that I am. I know that I am in some cases. It doesn't bother me, though.
Why not?
Because there's some money that I don't take, and I have turned down, and I won't take. And I have, conviction around that.
Whose money have you turned down?
I've turned down money that was associated with Peter Thiel in the same month that he doubled down on his investment and donation to Trump. And it wasn't an easy decision because
Right. Wasn't it like $250,000?
yeah, it was that. But that was it was a complex decision, but an easy one is how I say it.
You've taken on people like Peter Thiel, Paul Graham, people who are worshipped in Silicon Valley. And that's not been easy for you, I imagine, because the response has been harsh.
Sure.
You have sort of an equal number of supporters and an equal number of trolls. I've seen it
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah.
Why do that?
Because it's the truth. It's how I feel. I'm not out looking for trouble. But the same reason that they are allowed in this country to say what they say, feel what they feel, and do that out loud, and in their cases it has a massive effect on other people, I should be able to speak my mind and say that that's wrong. It's as simple as that.